Oxcart Man by Donald Hall and pictures by Barbara Cooney. It's copyright 1979. In October, he backed his ox into his cart, and he and his family filled it up with everything they made or grew all year that was left over. And there's the ox cart, there's the farmer, or the ox cart man, there's the farmer backing his ox into his cart. There's the barn in the background, there's leaves falling from the trees. He packed a bag of wool he sheared from a sheep in April. He packed a shawl his wife wove on loom, from yarn spun a spinning wheel from sheep sheared in April. He packed 5 pairs of mittens his daughter knit from yarn spun a spinning wheel from sheep sheared in April. See, flashback sheared from April. See, there's the there's the ox cart man with his wife. There's his daughter. There's sheep, 1 ram and 2 ewes, and this ewe is looking at the shawl that the wife made. There's the farmer holding the bag of wool. His daughter holding 2 of the 5 pairs of mittens that she made during that month. He packed candles the family made. He packed linen made from flax they grew. He packed shingles he split himself. He packed birch brooms his son carved from a borrowed kitchen knife. See, everything's being glued up. See, there's the birch brooms his son has. There's his daughter holding the candles in 2 baskets, one her hands full. And there are the roosters probably crowing. And there's linen. That's linen. He packed potatoes they dug from their garden, but first he counted out potatoes enough to eat all winter and potatoes for seed next spring. He packed a barrel of apples, honey and honeycombs, turnips and cabbages, a wooden box of maple sugar from the maples they dug in March, when they boiled the sap away. He packed a bag of goose feathers his children collected from the barnyard geese. And there are geese. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's a hen. There's the air of the apples that the farmer and his son are loading up into the cart. There's the cabbage. And there are the brooms and the potatoes. There's the turnips. There are two hens actually. When his car was full, he waved goodbye to his wife, his daughter, and his son, and walked at his ox's head 10 days, over hills, through valleys, by streams, past farms and villages. That must be the school. That's the covered bridge. There's the church. And there are the mountains in the background. There are geese flying in a shape of a letter V. Until he came to Portsmouth and Portsmouth Market. See, there's a sailmaker's. There's a pharmacist. There are your rhymes. There's no time. It must be someone selling a dog. Something. He sold a bag of wool. He sold a shawl his wife made. He sold 5 pairs of mittens. He sold candles and shingles. He sold birch brooms. He sold potatoes. He sold apples. He sold honey and honeycombs, turnips and cabbages. He sold maple sugar. He sold a bag of goose feathers. There's the ox cart man, or the farmer, selling everything his family made. Then he sold the wooden box he carried the maple sugar in. Then he sold the barrel he carried the apples in. Then he sold the bag he carried the potatoes in. Then he sold his ox cart. There he is. There's the man selling the ox cart man. Then he sold his ox and kissed him by his nose. Goodbye, ox. You're getting so old. Very sweet scene. Then he sold his ox's yoke and harness. With his pockets full of coins, he walked to Portsmouth Market. He bought an iron kettle to hang over the fire at home, and for his daughter he brought an embroidery needle that came in a boat from harbor that had sailed all the way from England, and for his son he bought a barlow knife, for carving birch-rooms with. Therefore, the whole family bought 2 pounds of wintergreen peppermint candies. And there he is in the general store with the iron kettle in his left hand, and a little girl petting the cat who belongs in the general store. Everything's something, the barrel, I don't know what that thing is. Then he walked home with the needle and a knife and a ware of green peppermint candies tucked into a kettle. And a stick over his shoulder stuck through it, and the kettle's handle, and coins still in his pockets. Past farms and villages, over hills, through valleys, by streams. He came to his farm, and his son, his daughter, and his wife were waiting for him. See, there's the lights on in the house up the hill. And his daughter took her needle and began stitching. And his son took his barrel knife and started whittling. And they cooked dinner in their new kettle, and afterward everyone ate a wintergreen peppermint candy, and that night the oxen man sat in front of his fire stitching harness for a young ox in the barn. See, just at dinner, here's his daughter stitching his son, using his barrel knife and whittling. They're cooking dinner. And he carved a new yoke with inside planks and new carton split shingles all winter. That must be the new ox, and there's snow covering the mountains, and there's the ox cart man and his son. Shingles all winter. While his wife made flax into linen all winter, and his daughter embroidered linen all winter, his son carved Indian brooms from birch all winter, and everybody made candles. There they are. The wife and are making flax and linen all winter, and his daughter embroidered linen all winter. And in March they tapped the sugar maple trees and boiled the sap down. See, they're tapping the sugar maple trees and boiling the sap down off of the wood. And in April they sheared the sheep, spun yarn, and wove. And see, I don't know how many sheep they have, so this ram has already had his wool cut off or shaved, sheared. This ewe has having her sheep, her wool sheared off. This lamb is puzzled, and this ram is blessed to have his wool sheared off. And in May they planted potatoes, turnips, and cabbages, while apple blossoms bloomed and fell, while bees woke up starting to make new honey. See, they're planting the garden patch. Well, there's the new ox up there. They're planting the yard, everything, the trees, apple blossoms blooming in the yard, the house up there. And geese squawked in the barnyard, dropping feathers as soft as clouds. There are the geese. The number of geese. Well, the end.